Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast, where we will help solve a critical business issue in 20 minutes or less. I'm your host, Sandra Wiley, president at Boomer Consulting, and with me today is Taylor Lowe. Hi, Taylor. Thank you so much for being on this episode of the podcast.
Hi, Sandra. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Taylor is the executive director of Eagle U, and today we're going to be talking about Eagle U. But let's get started by, Taylor, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started with Eagle U and just a little bit about yourself.
Perfect. Yes, my name is Taylor Lowe. I am the executive director of Eagle U. And just really briefly, Eagle U is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we conduct a youth leadership retreat for high school and college students from all over the country. And so, 16, 17 years ago, I was competing in pageants. I was Miss Teen Colorado. And part of my prize package was a scholarship to attend Eagle U. And so I came when I was 15 years old, got on a flight by myself halfway across the country, petrified to fly alone for the first time, and had the most life-changing week. And so I love the fact that it's come full circle, and now I get to help other students live out that same experience.
I love that. And I knew, I've known you since you've gotten, kind of involved with the program. I did not know all of that. So I'm thrilled that I get to know a little bit more of your backstory and how you got started with Eagle U. So when we talk about Eagle U, a lot of people out there that know Boomer Consulting have at least heard the name Eagle U because we've been a sponsor of that for several years now.
Yep.
But I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about just how did Eagle U get started? How did this whole thing bubble up?
So it's really cool. It kind of got started by happenstance, and what a blessing that is. So the gentleman who started our program, some of you may know him, his name is Steve Anderson. And he was going across the country, and he was teaching the same principles that we teach our students at Eagle U on a corporate level. So he was doing this for 20 years, all across the country and the world. And people were coming up to him in these seminars and these sessions afterwards, and they were saying to him time and time again, this was amazing. We've learned so much, but we wish we would have learned it 20 years earlier in our lives and in our careers so that we could have gotten a head start. These are things we needed to learn at the beginning, not, midway through at the end. Can you do this for our kids? And so they started a program, back in 1992. And I think our very first year we were called Boot Camp. And it was done out of Steve's business partner's house, Walter Haley. And it just blossomed from there and turned into this incredible organization that's now been around for over 30 years.
Wow. That's amazing. And again, that's innovation, right? That's when somebody sees something and goes, oh, we should do it this way instead of the way we've been doing it. And the other thing I love is that in our profession, in the accounting profession, we've been talking about how we wish that our youth had gotten some practical experience before they actually started in the profession. And somebody made the comment, gosh, we should actually start that in high school. We shouldn't start that when they're out of school or in our firms. And that's exactly what Eagle U does, right? I mean, I feel like the young adults that we have sent there, some are high school, some are early college, but all of them come back with great stories to tell and a changed life. I mean, they really do. And it just changes them. So, one of the things that I think is important as people start really understanding Eagle U, and when I talk about Eagle U, the stories that I talk about are what really entice people to send their youth or to get really excited about sending their youth. So, do you have a couple of stories that you could share that really kind of talk about the essence of what happens, not just at Eagle U, but even after Eagle U? So, what do you think?
Yeah. So, I tell people that what we do is we run this leadership program, but who we are and what our business really is we are in the business of changing lives. And so I'd love to share a story about one of our former students. His name was Austin Ponsart. He attended our program, I think it was 13 years ago. And just so everybody knows, we put our students into teams of 8 to 12 other students between their age and grade. And back 13 years ago, I was Austin's team leader. And so he was a very hardworking young man. He had perfect attendance in high school. But once he graduated high school, he didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. He knew that the college route wasn't for him and he was just very lost. but still a great kid. And his mom came across our Eagle U video, which maybe some of you have seen. And after seeing our video, she was able to secure a scholarship and get Austin to our program. Now, Austin, being, that high school age, was not thrilled about spending a week of his summer on a college campus learning leadership skills, which I get it. I get it. And so Austin, come Monday when we met him, was very reluctant and very tough. And I knew he was going to be one of our biggest challenges that week. And we had our work cut out for us. But come Friday of the program and still here today, Austin is one of our greatest success stories. And so unfortunately, Austin passed away this last year in a motorcycle accident, and his mom reached out to me. And out of all the ways that they wanted to memorialize and honor Austin's life, they want to do it through an Eagle U Scholarship Fund.
Wow.
Because they said that Eagle U, even for the last 13 years and even after his death, they talked about it at his funeral, impacted his life so greatly. And they want to give that impact to another student in his honor. And if it's okay with you, I actually have what his mom sent me. If I could just read a little snippet of what his mom wants us to share to the world about Austin.
I would love that.
Okay, good. Me too. So here's what she said. She said, Austin returned after the 1 week completion with tears of joy, boasting about this life-changing experience at Eagle U. He could not thank us enough for this opportunity. He was beaming with pride, sharing every moment with us, from the wonderful people to the guest speakers to the leaders and the mentors. To hear Austin say that Eagle U was, in quotes, the best thing that ever happened in his life was overwhelming to us, proving that it was a perfect fit. He had all this newfound confidence. He learned about effective goal setting, useful tools for successful interview, the value of doing good, and so much more. He returned with this focus and this desire to live up to his potential and this new recharged self-worth. And she goes on and on and on. But just to hear that, to this day, that was the best thing that ever happened to him. That's how I know that what we're doing at Eagle U, it really matters. And it really is making a difference on not just Austin's life, but hundreds of other kids from all over the country.
I absolutely adore that story. And it is super sad that a young adult was taken from us way too soon. But on the other hand, the value of his life and what he gave while he was here was spectacular, and what Eagle U did for him while he was here. And so I was sitting there thinking last night when we were talking about Eagle U, we've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. And the thing that I find really interesting is that I could tell you stories from kids that were valedictorians, the super smartest of the smart, right? To the kids that were barely making it in high school, and how it impacted all of them. So what I find really fascinating is that the leadership skills that are being taught at Eagle U are impacting everybody that goes. And the other thing, and I love what you said about he didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. So many of our people that they write their application and they want to come. So many of them say, I don't really want to do this, but my parents are making me. and we all kind of laugh at them. We're like, yeah, we get it, but I really think you're going to love it. And what they hear is leadership skills, and they think they're going to be like sitting in this class all day, and they're going to be having people talk at them the whole day. And that isn't what they experience when they get there. So I didn't give you this question ahead of time, so I'm sorry. But if you could talk about a little bit, just some of the experiences and what makes Eagle U so special when they're there and they're operating in this environment on campus and they're with their peers. Is it a sit in the classroom, listen to the lecturer? How does this work for them?
So Steve, our founder, has this great term that he likes to call funjetainment or something like that, where it's like education and fun. I don't know. He's got some weird word for it. It is a very high energy week. So you will, when our students check in on Monday, we have bubble machines and popcorn makers and loud music and all. I mean, it's an experience from the minute that these students walk in the door, and it's very interactive. So yes, they do sit through some seminars and some sessions with these keynote speakers that we bring in from all over the country. But then there's just this interactive, hands-on part of it. And I'll give you a perfect example. So after, the week of training our students, they get to put into practice what they learned as far as networking and interview skills. So we have our mentor roundtable, which is Thursday morning, and the students will have picked who they want to sit with. There's a room full of 60, highly accomplished individuals from all different backgrounds and industries. And our students get to go around the room and interview them on what made them successful. And so they're not just sitting there learning, they're doing it in practice. And, the whole idea behind this mentor roundtable is it takes a lifetime to learn from your own experiences, but it only takes a conversation to learn from somebody else's. So why create mediocrity when you can copy genius?
Perfect.
And so these kids walk away not only with the skills that they practice, but a lot of them walk away with job offers and internships and just this impactful confidence that they now can apply what they learned.
I oftentimes tell the story. This was probably the first or second year that we sponsored any kids that went to Eagle U. And one of the parents told me, I really want my son to go, but he can be kind of a mess sometimes. And he can be where he doesn't want to be involved. And so you just need to know that. And so going into it that week, there was not high hopes that he would be super engaged and really change his life, right? I mean, she was just hoping that he would have a good time. I really believe that. At the end of the week, he was one of the kids that was most respected by his peers. Mm-hmm. And when he went home, so the whole mentorship piece, I think, is so important to know about Eagle U, because he went home and he basically said to his parents, and he was afraid to tell them, I don't want to go to college. I really just don't think it's for me. I don't like that. But what are some of the careers I could go into that don't take college? Maybe there's just a certificate or something. Mm-hmm. And so I'll make a very long story short. He actually interviewed, when he got back home, a surveyor. And he happened to live in North Dakota. And he interviewed this surveyor. The surveyor said, hey, come to be an intern this summer. Come and see what it's like. So he came in. He was an intern. After that, the guy was like, I am super impressed by you. I want you to come to work for me. I'll pay for your education. You need to get a certification in surveying. So he did. And after it was all over, so now fast forward like 5 years, he still works for that same company. He's got his certificate. He's now a supervisor. He's in his early 20s. And I said, how's it going? How do you think Eagle U helped you? He goes, helped me. It saved my life. And he said, I know all these other people that have student loans out the wazoo and they don't have a job yet. He said, I'm making really good money. I'm doing what I love to do. I'm working with great people and I have no student debt.
Yes.
He said, I think I'm doing okay. But he will attribute it to the fact that during Eagle U, they taught him to set goals. They taught him to be independent. And he said, one of the things he told me after he got home was, I have been blaming everybody else in my life for not being able to figure out what I want to do. And you know what? It's my turn. It's my time to take responsibility for myself. And I thought, if 1 week with your peers and with really amazing people can do that for somebody, that is a place that kids need to be, right? And I say kids, but these are young adults. They're going to be adulting in the next year or two, right? So, so when you think about a profile of the person who either was most impacted or could be impacted by going to Eagle U, what would you say about that?
I love when people ask me this question, what's the perfect student to come? What's the perfect age? And the answer to that is it's really everyone. And like you said, these leadership principles, they're universal in application, regardless of if you are college bound or if you are, trade school bound or whatever it might be. Austin Ponsart's a great example of a kid that wasn't going to take the traditional route, who didn't want to do that college, just like the student that you're talking about. And he thrived because he learned these principles. And then you have students like me, who I did want to do that traditional route. I was so eager to learn more and just better myself that this gave me that launching pad to go one step further. And for kids like Austin, it gave them the launching pad to start. And so for the kid that is, trying to figure out his way, and for the student that is trying to just do one more thing because they're an eager beaver, we're for everyone.
I love that. And, we sometimes, not every year, but the last couple of years anyway, we have a big boomer summit that's in August. And the student, one of the students that we have sponsored to go to Eagle U, they have come to us and said, can we just have a TED talk at your summit so that we can tell people what we learned? And I mean, these young people are young. I mean, like freshmen in college, and they get up on this stage in front of hundreds of people and talk about their experience and what they learned. And last year I loved it because the young man that got up on stage to speak, I said, you know, don't be intimidated. Don't worry about it. He goes, I just want a microphone. That's what I need.
That's so cool.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And he was just getting ready to start his freshman year in college. And he wanted the microphone and he wanted the stage. And he said, you might have to cut me off because I got a lot to say. And
So
he
great.
spent about 5 minutes talking about his experience. And it was really special. So what Eagle U is doing is special. And I just want everybody to know about it. One of the questions that I get, though, when I talk to parents, I talk to students about possibly going, is logistics. You know, where in the heck is this? And do they live in the dorms? And do they have sponsors? And gosh, are they going to be safe? I'm going to send them to Kansas City on a plane. So talk about logistics just a little bit, if you would.
So I don't want to, pat ourselves on the back over here, but we are logistical kings and queens when it comes to Eagle U. We have it down to a science. After 30 years, we've never lost a student. We've never had anything bad happen, if that gives anybody peace of mind. But when you book your student, if they're flying, there's a flight tracker form on our website. You input all their flight information. From there, when they arrive in Kansas City International, we have team leaders on the ground at baggage claim that collect your student as soon as they can, past security, help them get their bags, escort them to a private shuttle with a bunch of other Eagle U students that have flown in with a team leader on the shuttle bus the entire time. So from the time they land to the time they go back to the airport, there is somebody with them. And then once they get to campus, it is a university college campus. So they get to have this, really cool 5-day dorm college life experience. We eat all of our meals together in the cafeteria. They sleep in the dorms, which are on property. And our staff and our team leaders are on campus day and night the entire time. So myself, Steve, every team leader. And when I say team leader, this is somebody who has been through the program, was hand selected to be a team leader, is at least 18 years of age. And they've not only gone through an entire year of training with us, but then they come the weekend before and do additional training so that they are prepared to guide your student through the entire week, through the entire experience. And they're in these teams of 8 to 12 students, but with their team leader the entire time. So they're never going to be sitting at lunch by themselves. They're never going to be left to their own. They're not allowed to leave campus. We have campus security who is there 24/7, in addition to the police station, which is 2 blocks away. We have a nurse on staff, just in case there's medical issues that arise. So we are fully equipped and fully prepared and ready for anything, not that it's ever happened, to be with your student the entire week in a safe environment.
That is comforting, right? For anybody who's going to stick their kid on a plane and fly them into Kansas City, that's comforting to know that they're going to be well taken care of. And you're right. I will say there's not ever been a time that in all the years that we've sponsored kids, there's never been a time where that's even been an issue. They're well cared for, and I love that. I was sitting here thinking, and as we're getting to the last couple of minutes here together, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience before I kind of do my last little bit before we end today?
I can just say from my own personal experience of being an Eagle U student, it's been, 16, 17, so many years, 15 plus years since I've been as a student. And to this day, if I'm giving a speech, like I had a big presentation for another client the other day, or I'm setting a goal for myself, I am referencing my Eagle U student manual as an adult at 31 years old. And my husband and I, when we do our goal setting meeting, we're using the goal setting strategies that we learned at Eagle U and the relationship techniques that we learned at Eagle U. It is a lifelong gift that my parents gave me when they sent me through that program. And I can just, if you're a parent listening to this, apply for the Boomer Scholarship that you guys have. And if you're not a Boomer person, reach out to me. I would love to talk to you more about this opportunity.
That's awesome. Taylor, do you have either an email or do you have a website that you might point people to?
Yep. Our website is just www.eagleuniversity.org. And my website or my email address is taylor@eagleuniversity.org.
Perfect. That's awesome. And for all of you that are Boomer clients or prospects, you can go to boomer.com and you can just put in the search Eagle U and it'll take you to a landing page. And that landing page will have a video on it and it has all of the directions on how you can have your student apply for our scholarships. We give 6 scholarships every year. We pay for the tuition for the week. All you have to do is pay for the travel expenses and how to get them there. So that is, I would love it if we could fill every one of those spots just like right now. We have a couple already that have started, but we would love any kind of applications that you're sitting there thinking, I think my student should be there. And, I guess the thing we didn't really talk about maybe was the age. About what's like the sweet spot of the age of the young people that come.
Yeah, another great question. So, we do go from 15 to 25 years old. Okay. And I know that seems like a big age gap. Now, our high school students will do some things differently than our college students. So our young adults will work on 21 toughest interview questions. Our high school students will work on their vision boards. So when you ask me the perfect age, there is no great answer for that because I went when I was 15 and it changed my life. And then I have kids that come when they're 25 at the very end of, the line, and it changes their life too. So your student best. If you think they are mature enough to come spend 5 days with us, get them there.
Perfect. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for being here today. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. Listeners, if you enjoyed our topic, look out for new episodes every Tuesday morning. We like to rotate the topics and the themes, but the common theme among all the episodes is that we believe they are critical to your firm or personal growth and success. So please subscribe, and thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, everybody.